So the news has broken that Team Frank Warren, on behalf of Liam Smith, have received an offer from Saul Canelo Alvarez to fight for a title at light middleweight. Now, initially when I received this news, and it's been reported in numerous media outlets, I've seen it on Sky Sports for example, I was actually quite surprised. And the reason I was surprised is I thought Canelo was 100% moving up to middleweight. I know he'd initially moved up to a catchweight of 155. There was talk he'd move up to the full middleweight limit. I'm surprised he's considering fighting at 154 pounds again. For me that seems difficult. I doubt he's going to be able to stay at 154 for a lot of fights as he gets older. And I also think that he'll have trouble making the weight, to an extent that it could impede his performance, especially now he's used to fighting at a slightly higher weight as well. I think that extra cut is going to be painful for Canelo. Having said that, having contemplated it, it does make sense. A lot of conspiracy theorists, and I must admit, perhaps they do have some right here, are saying that the reason he's looking to go back down to 154 is so he doesn't have to be in the mix to fight Golovkin. Obviously, Golovkin is his mandatory in the WBC titles, and it may be easier for him to fight down at 154 pounds and to fight guys like Liam Smith or to fight guys like Jamel Charlo, as opposed to stepping in with Golovkin, who's known as the killer of the division. If it comes out that Canelo has actually dropped that back down in weight to avoid Golovkin, then we do have to start saying that Golovkin is one of the more avoided fighters out there, certainly. I mean, that would be pretty big stuff. From Liam Smith's perspective, the initial statement for Frank Warren was quite blasé about it. We've got some options, we're looking at what would be the best fight for him. I think Liam Smith has got to take this fight. Liam Smith is a fighter who is known in Britain to Box Nation subscribers. Even though he is the most successful of the boxing brothers in the sense that he has a world title, he's actually probably the least known. Certainly Paul Smith, Callum Smith, both of those guys have substantially higher profiles than Liam Smith. They're both more known in the public eye, and I think that's because whilst Liam Smith's been managed well by Frank Warren, he hasn't exactly been in the big fights. Even his world title win and world title defence weren't on the grandest scale of all. This fight, represents a huge opportunity against Canelo Alvarez. Even if he were to be defeated, it represents a real opportunity to get worldwide publicity and worldwide recognition. And a loss to Canelo Alvarez, if he performed with credit, wouldn't necessarily be the end of his career whatsoever. If anything, it could increase his name, increase his profile, and increase the likelihood of him getting big fights. I don't know about the financial side of it. I don't know what it's like to be a Canelo opponent financially, but you'd have to assume this is going to be a far bigger payday than fights like the Jimmy Kelly fight or the John Thompson fight. I mean, surely this would be a new level of finances in that sense. And if, just for 1 second, let's just say that Canelo Alvarez is too drained making the weight. If we just even entertain the thought that Liam Smith had a chance of winning the fight, I mean, if he were to beat Canelo Alvarez, he would, be in a huge position. People would start talking about Liam Smith as a top 10 pound for pound fighter. There'd be, the world would be his oyster. And it's a huge opportunity for him. If the offer's there, I don't really see how Frank Warren and Liam Smith can reject it. What are the other alternatives? The other alternatives are fighting someone like Liam Williams for the world title in Liverpool. This is a global opportunity for him to become a superstar. He's got to take it, surely. And Canelo back down in weight could make him vulnerable. As for the fight itself, they're both guys who I view as come-forward fighters. Canelo may be a slightly more sophisticated boxer. Liam Smith I see as a kind of poacher character whose power and output has got him ahead in his last 2 fights. I think it's a tough matchup for Liam Smith stylistically. I think he's someone who comes forward, stands in front of opponents and tries to unload. He tries to counterpunch, he tries to catch people, but essentially he is someone who likes to throw power punches in front of someone. And I do just wonder whether that style is not going to go down well with Canelo. You know, when people have come at Canelo, it's probably when he's looked his most devastating. If you recall, like the Kirkland fight, the Angulo fight, I think Canelo would have a huge edge in power, a substantial edge in size, and I've not seen anything from Canelo to suggest he's got even questionable punch resistance. So I'd make Canelo a big favourite, but it would be an excellent fight, and win, lose or draw, I think it's the right fight for Liam Smith to take. I don't think they should mess around here. I think they should sign the contract. It's got to be a big payday, but it's the exposure. And that opportunity, this is a fight, things can happen. Liam Smith is a massive underdog in this fight, but he's a good fighter, he's a solid fighter. And if he were to get the upset, not that I expect that would happen, but if he were to get it, he could go on to really, really big things. Let me know your thoughts. How likely do you see this fight? And if it does happen, how much of a chance do you give Beefy? Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, do give me the thumbs up. I'd appreciate it.